From the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. We're brought to you by Papa John's. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for Inbox. We've got your email questions, and we're going to answer them here on video. Let's get right to it. A question comes from Gray. He says, would you describe Josh Heupel as a dynamic and creative play caller who consistently keeps the defense off balance while exploiting known weaknesses?
Yes, I would. I think that's a solid way to describe Josh Heupel. Now, Heupel was not any good at all Saturday. I thought his game plan was very poor. I think fans and media, everyone tends to overrate play calling. Play calling is a very small element of the game. Game planning is where games are won and lost on the coaching realm. I thought Heupel had a very poor game plan against Texas, didn't exploit the Texas weakness at all. But in general, Heupel's done a very good job with the OU offense. He had a quarterback last year, Landry Jones, who could wing the ball, big-time arm, had some limitations in the pocket, worked around them, had a great offense. Now he's got a quarterback that can't really throw nearly the way Landry Jones does. He's going to have to adjust. It's going to be a work in progress.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I'll tell you what, it was disappointing to see the lack of quarterback run game in the Oklahoma offense against Texas, because that's the thing all year that Texas has been so susceptible against. You saw BYU with a quarterback with a big old brace on his knee run wild against the Texas defense. Now, Greg Robinson has come to Austin since then, and they've clearly shored up some things, but they've still struggled with running quarterbacks. Even before they played Oklahoma against Iowa State and a more mobile quarterback, running quarterback, you saw him do some things against Texas. But Oklahoma really not using the quarterback run game at all. And I understand Blake Bell is more of an up-the-gut guy than an around-the-edge guy. But still, the fact that they really didn't give him a chance to run much at all, I was really surprised by it, and I thought that did come back to Josh Heupel. All right, back to the inbox. Daryl says, why in the HE double hockey sticks won't Bob Stoops let Kendall Thompson prove that he can pass and run as a true dual threat should do?
Well, maybe because Bob Stoops already knows what Kendall Thompson can do. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people wanting Kendall Thompson to be put on the field now that the Sooner offense has sort of been derailed. But I know this. I know that Bob Stoops and a lot of coaches don't like to turn the quarterback position into a holy-goalie carousel. They want stability there. Sooners have already made a quarterback change in midseason. Bob Stoops is loath to make another, I believe. I think he wants to stick with a guy and see where it goes. I think Stoops' belief is that another quarterback change at this point would create a little bit of uncertainty with his players. It's the last thing he wants. If they absolutely have to, they will make a change, either back to Trevor Knight or to Kendall Thompson. But I think they want to ride Blake Bell as far as they can.
I totally agree with that. I asked Bob Stoops actually in his press conference this week about his philosophy and sticking with quarterbacks. I mean, we've seen it even from the standpoint of sticking with the starter well into the last stages of a route. I mean, I think anybody that's watched much Oklahoma football in the last few years has thought from time to time, hey, why is so-and-so in there? It's the fourth quarter, and Oklahoma's up by 3 scores, 4 scores. So Bob Stoops likes to ride his starter, whether it's in games or throughout a season. I don't think this is going to be a 3-quarterback season for Oklahoma unless Blake Bell gets hurt. I guess there could be a situation where maybe he looks so bad they have to make a change, but I don't think we've gotten to that point yet. And frankly, I think there's going to be a lot more games where he's more effective with his feet than he was against Texas. I got to think they get him going in the run game a little bit more. And I think he's got a decent arm. I just don't think he had a decent throwing day the last couple outings. So we'll see how that all comes together for Blake Bell. Back to the inbox. Michael says, I believe Mike Gundy is feeling some pressure to play J.W. Walsh because of his connection with Denton Guyer High School and for the sake of future recruiting. Do you buy into that logic at all?
No, I don't. I think it's silly, and here's why. The reason you want to have good recruiting, whether it's from Denton Guyer or DeSoto or any other school, is because you want to win football games. Mike Gundy is not going to throw away football games playing what he believes is the wrong quarterback just to maintain some recruiting pipeline. I don't know if J.W. Walsh is the right man for the job or not. I tend to think he is. I would play J.W. over Clint Shelf. So I'm not criticizing Gundy on that front. But whatever Gundy believes, he's playing the right guy. Whether he's right or wrong, I believe the coaches are playing who they think will lead them to victory.
You know, if anybody questions whether Mike Gundy would play somebody because of recruiting pipelines, you just need to go back a few years to a guy named Bobby Reed. Came from the Houston area, the most high-profile recruit they ever had. They put him on the bench. And they benched him for a guy coming from Colorado, where they never really had much of a recruiting foothold and probably won't ever have a big foothold. So Mike Gundy thought he could win more games with Zach Robinson. He went with Zach Robinson. All right, back to the inbox one last time. This one comes from Caleb. Caleb says, Xavier Henry is tearing it up in preseason with the Lakers. 29 points, 15, then 22. First game of preseason, he scores 29. Why couldn't Oklahoma City sign him? He seems to be our missing piece.
Well, I want to see Xavier Henry do it more than just in 3 preseason games in China. The Thunder clearly is lacking some outside shooting, some bench scoring. Jeremy Lamb's been a disappointment so far, but Xavier Henry's now been in the league 2 or 3 years, really hasn't done much. I think a lot of people passed on Xavier Henry. We'll see. I'm pulling for him. Putnam City High School kid. I hope he does great. He'd be a great success story, but you can't blame the Thunder. There's been no reason to think that Xavier Henry could be that missing piece.
Yeah, no, I don't totally agree with that. And you know what? Don't give up on Jeremy Lamb yet. I mean, a couple hiccups to start the year, even into the regular season. I don't think that discredits his ability moving forward. This is a guy who's seeing, you know, his first NBA action for the most part. A year ago, he spent it largely with the D-League team in Tulsa. He got a few spotty minutes here and there in NBA games. But really, this is his first time in the NBA, his first action. So, you know, if he's going to have some growing pains, that's to be expected. I don't think we can say that he's going to jump right out there and be able to play fantastically right away. But I think the thing that is, you know, going to be interesting to see to me is he is going to be playing primarily against second-team guys. That gives him a chance to really get out there and not have to go against the starters, not have to go against the top-level guys to get his rhythm. And you got to hope he takes advantage of that, because if he doesn't, then it could start to be a little more of a problem. But once the regular season gets started, I think we're going to start to see him get more comfortable as the games go on. It's just going to take time. A couple preseason games shouldn't make you think Xavier Henry's the answer, and it also shouldn't make you think that Jeremy Lamb is not the answer. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.